Welcome to another week of The Inimitable Black Woman. I am your host, Donna. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is being released Christmas Eve, so happy Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And just love, love, love. I'm excited for you to hear this one, so we're just going to jump right into it.
What is your name?
Lakeita, aka DJ Mocha Locha.
Hey. So we met, I was trying to think, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's already been that long.
That's crazy.
I don't even know what the name of that place was called, but
oh no, I'll tell you. I remember. Okay. I'll tell you. I remember everything. So, well, I knew it was my birthday, but I didn't know if it was my last birthday or my birthday. But it was my birthday. It was the last birthday before this one, and we were at Dogwood. We were at Dogwood in Austin, Texas. But you're not from Austin. You live in.
So I live in Houston.
Okay.
But at the time when I saw you, I think I was still living in Corpus.
Yes.
When I saw, yeah. So that's where we're coming from.
So I just tell you all about our first interaction. So I'm a very self-conscious dancer, and my friend Lakeita is like that person that hypes you up even when you don't want to be hyped up. She's like, go out there and dance, do something. And I think she might have came to you, or I don't know how it happened, but basically you start dancing. And let me tell y'all, that is the best like dance moment I think I've ever seen in person. Like straight up. You hit the splits. You were swinging. Your hair was in these long braids, and you were giving us choreography. You were swinging your braids. It was that moment where, like, if people didn't have their phone out, they were reaching for their phone to get it out. Like, you killed it. And I was like, dang, okay, I'm going to chill back. You killed it. It was amazing.
Okay, like you're hyping me up the whole time.
No, it was amazing. I'm gonna see if I can find the footage, because it was the best dance moment I've ever seen in person.
Oh, thank you.
You like killed it, was confident, and you like knew what you were about to handle and how you gonna handle it, and you did.
That day was fun. We were already probably a little I think we were already a little tipsy by the time we came in there too, so that probably helped out a little bit.
It was beautiful. So my first official question is, how did you learn how to dance like that?
So, okay, so I've been dancing since I was a little kid. When I was probably like 5 years old or so, like kindergarten through 6th grade, I did ballet. And then after that, I would just study Michael Jackson. I would study Michael Jackson so hard. Like I would dress up like wear all the stuff, have the belts all around me, all that good stuff. And then by the time I got to middle school, I kind of had like a culture shock a little bit, because I had always gone to schools where they were like diverse, or maybe there's only like 5 Black people or something like that. And then when I went to middle school, it was just like all Black people everywhere. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, when it's homecoming, I'm about to bust out these Michael Jackson moves. And then everybody was just kind of like, we don't do that here. And so I had to learn how to do like the whole, like, I guess you can say like locking and dropping it like it's hot and all that stuff. I had to learn how to do that in middle school. And I think the combination of the two kind of complements each other. So that's what I would probably say that's where I learned how to dance.
You made you hot fire.
And then in college, I do have a degree in music theater and dance, so that helped out too in college, doing like modern and jazz and ballet again and stuff like that. So,
oh my gosh, you were my role model. I want to feel.
What?
Yes, girl. That is what I want. I want to be able to take control of a circle and just murder it. I could probably play it off and do it in a white circle, but when we start dropping in our melanin, I'm not hitting as hard. I don't feel the hit as I just don't have it in me. But it's so funny, because I was at a party, and this girl I know, my song that I'm about to go get it going is Pony by Genuine. That's like my friends would be like, your song's on, do your thing, right? So I was at a party and my song came on. My song came on, but I was with a girl I hadn't hung out before, and I didn't know that was her song or she had the jump on the song. Because my friend was like, your song, and this girl was like, I already got it. And it was, I commend her because she was so confident, but it was very awkward. Like, splits weren't all the way down, but you know what she had? She had confidence. And even if her moves weren't smacking, like pinpointing, we were in a room of all black folks, and they might have been hyping her up because it wasn't all the way there, but she was so confident. I was like, yo, I don't even care. I just want like that confidence to be like, I'm gonna kill it. Like, you were confident and you killed it. She was just confident.
Okay. Do you feel like the confidence like just makes a difference in general of how people see it? Because even in her mind, even if she wasn't like killing it, she still was like, I'm gonna do this anyway.
No, confidence helped how she saw it.
No.
That's it. If you feel good, that's all that matters, right? Like, she left that and her thought was, I did what I had to do.
Did what I had to do. My job's done here. We're good.
You're all welcome. You're welcome to that. I know those splits didn't go all the way down, but you still were there for it.
But y'all saw that, right?
And I admired it. I was a little sick because I was like, not me. But like, I admire it. Like, to this day, I was like, yo, that's what I need. But like, you were the perfect combination. I have one other friend who's like that. And I interviewed her before, Christina. She's the other person who was confident, and she's like, I'm about to kill you. And she was, listen, I love it. I love it. But so you also are a singer, though. Am I right?
Yes. So I sing, I make beats, I write, and I DJ as well too.
What inspires you to make your art?
I would say what I go through in life. A lot of times I know the most inspiration behind my music in general has always been me like really liking a guy. And it's never the guy that I'm with. You know what I mean? Like it's always more like when I'm single and I just really like when I like somebody, I like somebody. Like I really do. But I'm not like crazy with it. It's just like in my mind, I'm just more infatuated with them, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
I know you told me not to say it. I'm still up here like, does that make sense?
No, but in general, like, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, when you like somebody, you just kind of you think about them all the time. You picture your little future, like you just do that, but you don't say it to the guy. So a lot of my music is just derived from that. More of like, oh my God, it's almost like a wanting and a wishing and a hoping type thing. And then there's also moments where if I'm traveling or if I'm amongst nature or just anything that just kind of gives me inspiration, like whether it be a conversation I have with my friends or just something that's just enlightening or just refreshing, I can write about that. I mean, and the music itself, like I just really feel it. Like I can't not feel it. Like even dancing, everything that goes along with it. If I hear a song or even hear something, it moves me regardless. Like regardless if it's like a rock song or R&B song or just some type of just trance type song, it just moves me in a certain way where I just feel like, man, like music's so powerful. It really can just move you in general. So a lot of times I'll just get inspired by life itself or just my experiences in life too. So
what would you want someone to get from your music?
I always tell people that when you hear my music, I want you to either feel what I felt when I was singing it, or just hear the lyrics and just really feel like, wow. And also I want people that know me that when they hear it, they're like, yeah, that's Lakeita. Or people that don't know me, it's like, wow, I got to know her through that. That's really all I'm trying to do is just either inspire, put out a positive message, or just help you get to know who I am through my music. And it might not always be super raw or super in depth, but it's like if you know me and you hear my music, you won't think that I'm just putting up a facade or making up stuff that's not real about me. Like when you hear it, you're like, yeah, that actually happened. Or you're like, oh yeah, that's Lakeita. Like that's really her. So I just want people to see that I'm just always going to be true to myself, true to the art, and vulnerable in any type of way, and just make people say like, hey, it's not afraid to put those feelings out there, or hey, don't be afraid to be completely transparent with yourself and the people around you, because the best way to get people to relate to you is just to be yourself and be your true self, and don't try to be anyone else. So that's what I want people to get when they hear my music. It's just, and just have fun too, because I like to have fun. I like to laugh. And so a lot of my music will have little things in there that are funny or something like that, when it just shows my personality. So honestly, I just want you to get to know me through my music.
What is something you learned about yourself in the last 365 days?
I would say something that I kind of struggle with in like over the years in general was I've always I don't want to say I put myself last, but I'm definitely much like a giver. Like I'm much of like, if I eat, you eat. Even if I don't have it, I'm gonna make a way, like that type of thing. Or I would always try to be there supporting my friends, or breaking my back to go here and there, or being a listening ear, just like whatever it is. And that's just because I felt like, okay, that comes with loyalty, that comes with being a great friend or good family member, whatever I have to be. But then at some point I realized, like, I didn't have any energy left for myself. Like once I started giving out so much of my energy, I didn't have any of that for myself to take back. And it's kind of weird for me to be like selfish, because I'm like, no, that's not who I am. But I had to learn to start doing that. Like I'm still teaching myself to just be like, hey, it's okay to be like, no, I can't do that. It's okay to be like, hey, I really don't want to. It's okay to deny certain things, because you have to take care of yourself. Because a lot of times, like when it's my turn, then you kind of look around and you're like, oh, like everybody's good, but like I'm over here stressed out or tired or whatever, because I've given my energy to everybody else, and now that I don't have anything left, everybody else is doing good because I've already given them, what they have from me. And I'm not saying that I'm around a bunch of takers or anything, but that's just something I had to learn about myself, was to take time for myself, take energy for myself, and that it's okay. Because I always didn't think that it was okay to do that. Like I was like, yeah, I'll be good as long as everybody's good. That makes me happy. I'm good. Then I realized, like, hey, Lakeita, you kind of gotta take some time, because you'll wear on your mental, your body, your health, like everything. So I would say that's something I learned about myself. And then maybe like I'm a little bit more introverted than I thought, because I'm definitely an extrovert. But then there's some moments where I'm like, hey, I'm actually a little bit more introverted than I thought. Like, all right, I could, like, I didn't even know that about myself, because I'm so used to just being people, people, people. Like, I love people. And I'll probably say that's the only things right now, especially with the quarantine. I learned a lot
How
about.
has the quarantine been a lot? What has been your like, as a person who is a people person, how has it been for you to like deal with it during this time?
I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought it was gonna be like really, really hard, because I'm like, oh my God, I just love people. When I thought about it, it was like a blessing in disguise, because I was able to. So I had recently, when you saw me, I had a boyfriend, and I broke up with him in February this year. So that was like right before the quarantine. And so like when that hit, it's like I had all those emotions, and I had dealt with those just, on my own, just kind of reflecting and everything. And then with some of the friends that I met when I moved back to Houston, I've been here a little bit over a year now. And some of the friends that I met, we kind of started talking on the phone more, because we couldn't go out. And so I got to experience these people in a different light, versus just always seeing them at the music shows or seeing them at their shows, and it just being like a brief hi and bye. This was more like, I'm getting in depth, I'm learning these people, and we also share the music in common. So it was like a different dynamic that was created. And I was like, this is what I've been missing. I didn't even know that I was missing that. Like a lot of my friends, they do have appreciation for music, but I actually was missing out on having actual artist friends and creators, and being actually close with them too. So during the quarantine, it taught me a lot about like those people, what I was missing, and then I gained inspiration just from those new conversations, just from those new friendships. And I was able to come out with a new project. My mom's working from home and stuff, so all of us kind of found a new respect for what each other does, because we never actually get to see what each other does. We just know what each other does. And now that she kind of got to see me first at hand, like right close up, like, oh wow, you're really making these videos, you're really out here doing this, like, and that's hard work. And she sees it and she's like, wow, and I see what she's doing. So the quarantine was actually good. And I think that too, people weren't appreciating the nature and appreciating like all the free things that you can do and spending time with your family and things like that. When you don't have all those distractions of going out all the time, it's like, well, what do you do? And for me, I've always taken time to go explore nature, taking time to like just wind down. And so it didn't affect me too badly, but it actually just made me hone in on some other crafts. And the whole virtual thing, like I just honed in like some different sides. Like instead of trying to go out and perform, I was like, okay, what else can I do behind the scenes? What else can I learn how to do? Get back into cooking more dishes and things like that. So I actually think the quarantine was a blessing in disguise for me. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think that I would be as close with some of the people that I am with now.
So where are you from?
Originally from Alabama.
What part?
Mobile.
You're from Mobile? Okay, my family is from Huntsville. So you're from Mobile, Alabama. That's where you. What was your childhood like growing up?
I know I grew up. We was always like the only in my family. Like we were always the only Black family on the street. So like I grew up in like good neighborhoods, but then we were always intertwined with schools that would, I guess, pretty much like not, I guess, not segregate, but put everybody together in the same school. So there would be people from like the hood areas, and people from like my area, and we would all go to school together. And so I had kind of an experience of being, like I said, being the only Black person on my street all the time, and riding bikes and doing stuff like that, and then just going to school and being afraid to like not get jumped or something. Because some of the schools that I did, like my middle school definitely was like I said, the one that was more of a culture shock, because I went to two different elementary schools and they both were pretty diverse, nothing too crazy. And then by the time I went to middle school, it was just like culture shock. And I had to kind of get a tough skin. A lot of people in Alabama, like you'll find like the good Southern hospitality here and there, but a lot of people when I was growing up, especially the younger people, they were they're kind of rude, very just like ready to throw their life away for no reason. Like if you just look at the kind where you like if you look at somebody the wrong way, or even just stand off into space, like you might not even be looking at anybody, and then they'll just be like, "What are you looking at? Like, why are you looking at me?" And you're like, "Huh?" Like, I was just staring off into space, Or I think that's the best way that I can really describe it. Is like when you're there, people they seem like they want to see you succeed, but not really. Like not as much as when I moved to Texas. Like of course you're gonna have people everywhere you're gonna have some haters, you're gonna have some people that care about you, you're gonna have that everywhere. But I feel like the good in Texas outweigh the bad and the negative. So when I moved, I was like, okay. Like I was skeptical at first, because I was like, there's no way that there's this many nice people in the world. Like there's no way. Like all of y'all here in one state, So like in Alabama, like I said, it was just very challenging at times, because even if you want better, it seemed like the support wasn't there. And then they're kind of just technologically very slow. Like they move at a slower pace. So a lot of things that they were on, they were just kind of behind. So moving to Texas was like my dad's choice, and he wanted us to come because he was like, you need better opportunities, and it moves at a faster pace out here, and the people here, you'll be surrounded by a little bit more positivity, more people that actually want to see you succeed. So
Why do you
that's
think it's like that out there?
I don't know. I don't know if a lot of it still stems down from the racism, because it definitely was bad. Like in school, it was bad. Like I have a lot of friends of different races, so like our people, they would kind of look down at me like, why are you hanging out with that white girl? Why are you hanging out with that Mexican girl? Like, they would be so confused. And I'm like, because they're my friend. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And everybody would just be so like, how, I guess, so racist. Like, of course the white people would seem like they would be scared of us. And then you got the black people like just bullying them for no reason. And it was just like a lot going on for no reason. So I know that Alabama definitely is one of the historical places where all the, the Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, like everything happened. So I think some of that still stems down because even Alabama is still a Republican state. So it's just like, I think that's just what it was. Like, that's just what it was. A lot of the neighborhoods that my parents would grow up in, they would tell me, oh, this neighborhood used to be super clean. It was this and that. And then, or it used to be like an Asian neighborhood, or used to be this. And then once they start kind of gentrifying everything, then it would just become like the hood. And then they would move on to a different area, and they would just do that around town a lot. So that's a lot of what you would see. It's just a lot of rundown areas that used to be awesome, and then they're just there. And then when you go to school with those same people, some of them want better, but some of them just feel like that's just what it is. Like, that's just how it's going to be. And they're okay with that. And so, and that was the majority. That's not like, there wasn't a lot of people that's just ready to make a change. So if that's the majority of what you see, especially as a kid, if you're not strong minded and strong willed, then it'll be easy to kind of fall into that. So that's why I think, that's the only other explanation, is that generational curses just aren't being broken.
My next question would be, was there a moment in your life where you knew you were a Black woman, where it became apparent to you like, oh, I'm a Black woman, I'm not just existing?
I think for me, probably like the older I got, because as a kid, like, you're Black, but I think it hits different when you're older and you actually are faced with like society and you have to get a job and certain things like that. Because being surrounded around, like, of course, a lot of my Black friends, we would have those conversations where it's like, you can't, there's a thing where you feel like you can't do certain things. Like, I actually, here's one. My mom, like, growing up, she would always like try to make sure that we were presenting ourselves, just make sure we just look presentable in general. Like, even if we're going to Walmart or wherever, like, you just want to make sure you at least look like you took a bath, look like your hair brushed back or something, just so you can look presentable. Because they were always just trying to teach us that you can't do the same stuff that they do. And I never really understood that all the way until I got older, because of my friends and having those conversations, and then just seeing like how people will react differently. Like, if I go into Walmart with like a holy shirt and my hair all wild or something like that, people may look at it like typical, like, being the stereotype, but the typical, like, oh yeah, that's Black people for you, or something like that. And then, but a white person come by and wear the same exact thing, and it's kind of just like, oh, she's chilling. Well, I'm chilling too, and I didn't know that was even a serious thing until I got older. Because like I said, in the workplace, if you have like casual Fridays, you're like, yeah, it's casual Friday, but I can't be as casual as casual. I kind of still got to make mine up a little bit, because you're trying to beat those stereotypes. And even if you feel like one of those rebels where it's like, no, I am going to wear this, think what you think, at the end of the day, it still exists. And you know that that's how you're being looked upon. And if you want to, if you don't want it to affect anything career-wise, and you kind of have to like act accordingly. So I'm the leader of my band, and a lot of times when we get booked, people will try to figure out, like, of course, how can we get booked again? And instead of coming up to me, they would come up to one of the guys in the band. And then perfect example, my guitarist one day was like, oh no, like, talk to her, like, she's the one. And they were like, well, like, how do we book you? He's like, yeah, talk to her. And he was like, how do we book y'all? He's like, talk to her, like, she's the leader of the band. And so when they would come up to me, it's kind of like they don't believe it. Like, they're like, a woman she's doing this? And I'm like, yeah, like, this is my band. And it's almost like we have to work so much harder just to be recognized. And that's one of the reasons why I work so hard to just try to do everything that I can. I learn how to do everything that I can myself, so I won't have to depend on anybody. But then if I need the help, I can outsource it if needed. But that's why I work so hard to be like, well, no, I'm gonna make these beats. I'm gonna make this song. I'm a DJ. I'm gonna do all these things that y'all feel like we can't do, or that men have been dominating over so long, because they know that we've still had their back and been the ones kind of behind the operation. But now it's like our turn to kind of step front and be like, hey, like we're actually the ones doing this. Like, hey, it's us. I'm running this thing. And until you like recognize it, it's kind of like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And I also had a guy when I was trying to get my band booked. I also had a guy, and I said, hey, how can we get in your venue? You know, we would love to play here. And he was just like, he pats me on the head. He goes, oh, we'll try to get you. And I was like, did you just pat me on the head? He goes, we'll try to get you in here. What was that for? What was that even about? Like, what made you just think that was okay? Would you have done that to any of the other guys in here? You know, would you have just done that to anybody? To be like, oh, like, it's okay. We'll get you in, you know, here. Or like, who does that? There's so many instances where it's just like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that I just try to challenge myself to learn things that they wouldn't expect us to know. Like, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish. So there's another instance where me and my friend were actually out eating, and this guy just came up to us, and he was trying to pretty much flirt with us the whole time. And at some point I said, hey, like, he said something in Spanish, and I was like, oh, I speak Spanish, but I guess he didn't hear me. And then later on he said something like real provocative in Spanish, and I was like, hey, that's really disrespectful. And he goes, oh, you understand what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, I speak Spanish, and my friend speaks sign language. And he's like, well, y'all are pretty smart for Black women. What does that even mean? Like, we've been encountered with so many things just from becoming like older. As a kid, I didn't realize any of that existed. So I would probably say I realized I was a Black woman as I got older and was trying to get like jobs, and definitely when I had a job in the corporate world, I realized that. And then just everything that's going on right now, I would say.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
I think the best advice, or even just like a quote, like my dad would always say, is he would just say, like, anytime we feel like we couldn't do something, or anytime we just tried to make, I guess you would even say excuses or reasons behind why this is how this is. My dad would just kind of be like, excuses are monuments of nothing that build bridges to nowhere. So he would always like say that quote to us, and he would always just pretty much just tell us like, let your work speak for you. Even if someone thinks this and that about you, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like, your work's gonna speak for you when you're here, and then even when you die, like, your work's gonna live on, your legacy's gonna live on. So work hard, maintain like a great reputation, because he used to always tell us like, it's hard to get a good reputation, but it's easy to lose it. You know, it's hard to maintain like a really good reputation, but then one little thing can ruin a reputation like so quickly. So it's like, be careful, be mindful about the actions that you take, be mindful about the decisions that you make, the company you keep, like all of that. And I think it plays into everything. Like, it plays into education, my life, my friends, jobs, moves I'm trying to make. It plays into everything. So I think that is something that I just took with me, and I feel like it's been working. So that's something.
So last question. If you had the attention of the entire world, what would you say?
Ooh. I had the intention of the entire world. I would definitely encourage everyone to try to be the best version of themselves as possible. I honestly just am such like a person that I want people to be leaders and be individuals. Like, don't fall into something just because you feel like, oh, that's the trend or that's this. Like, literally be you, figure out what it is in the world that you're trying to put into the world. Like, Is what I'm doing harming the world or harming those around me or harming my environment or whatever? Like what I'm doing, is it actually beneficial, or am I just like everybody else? Am I really just like clouding it? Because it's like a lot of things that I see that I'm like, we don't need no more of that. Like it's a lot of things that I'll be like, we don't need no more. Like who's gonna be the one? Who's gonna be different? How can we fill the world with more positive things? How can we get people to be more like themselves and stop trying to follow the trends all the time? How can we get people to just want to be good? Like, I don't know how to describe that, but if I had a panel, I would just speak on people just really tapping into their inner selves and figuring out how to be the best version of themselves. And then if you see someone that is struggling with that, how can we be of assistance to help everybody else see that too? And just try to be the best versions of ourselves, try to be positive, try to work hard and see what it is that you actually want to do, and how can we achieve that? How can we get there? If I had the whole world listening to me, that's what I would speak on, is individuality, but togetherness, leadership, and positivity.
Ho, ho, ho. That was a good one. You see what I did there? I was like Santa. That was kind of lame, but that's okay. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I enjoyed that conversation. I'm just so happy that finally me and her got to get together and do the interview in the midst of life. But if this is your first time here, please follow us on the Instagram. You can see the IGTV video of this at the IBW. Also, email is info@theibw.com. Feel free to visit the Instagram page and please check her out. Check out her music. She is talented. She is that chick. She been that chick. Also, if this is your first time here, there are past interviews that are awesome with other different women, other different conversations. And yeah, I just want to hold a space for Black women. That's it. Love y'all. Have a great week. See you soon.